Okay, we are live with Dereck Visaard, the governor of Veritas Sanctuary, and a nice little place you got here, Governor.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those who are listening or tuning in after. I wanted to give you a tour of Veritas Sanctuary, which has been in game for about 2 weeks now, and it is a community that's right along the path of truth. It is located directly outside of Blood River or Blood River outskirts, either one. It is directly south of those, and you have to run right past it on your way from Blood River to Erie. And as such, it is a town that is devoted to the path of truth. And as you come into the town entrance, you can see a statue of our Titan of Truth, our patron Titan. But the town actually has a rich history as far as what it has been built upon and the history of that ancient settlement. And so I'd like to go through some of that. A few things, as you notice when you come into town, you're presented with a market, and we uncovered the ruins of this statue of a dragon. And that was kind of our first indication that there was a settlement previously here. We polished up the dragon and decided that that would be a great place to build the town's market around the dragon. At the time we uncovered it, we had no idea where it came from, who built it, how long it's been here, and so forth. But we did find a lot more about the ancient settlement from extensive ruins that are slightly to the north of the market, and we'll get to those in a little bit. But we decided to build the market around the dragon, and also the name of the market is Dragonbane Market. We thought that name was fitting. We positioned everything that we feel would be really valuable to adventurers who come into town, as well as those who are, looking for particular items for sale. We have 3 combat devotionals that are up at all times: honor, sacrifice, and spirituality. And we'll swap those out as the town goes through different crafting events. So we may have different devotionals up while we're doing crafting to change the buffs that you get. We have the town oracle right up front. We have all expert crafting tables here at the crafting pavilion. They're actually a combination of founder and benefactor expert tables. And then we have a plethora of town vendors, market vendors that are right here. And I'll also mention that for residents of the town, we do have 3 commission-free vendors that are positioned right around the crafting area that allow for town residents who don't have their own vendors to be able to list items on those 3 vendors. And they do have themes, so it is organized. It's not just random. But it is. This is an area that we're going to have regular events in the town, and we already have a number of players that have moved in and have their vendors and their wares out for sale as well. But if you were to keep on kind of going back, I'll just walk forward a little bit as we go through the crafting area. All of the NPC merchants that you would need for crafting are all right here. We also have a NPC Homes building, which has our decoration and our homes merchant, but all the general things you would need for crafting, from crafting supplies, magic supplies, combat cooking, things like that, all those are right here, conveniently located next to the market. And if you're up for a little bit of music while you craft or while your party crafts, we do have a nice little setup here with a grand piano, and also a ether vibration amplifier, one of the smaller ones above the fireplace. So anyone is able to just kind of hang out. We have a camera set up if you want to get pictures of of your little mini concert and dancing. Feel free to do that while the rest of your party, takes a shot at crafting. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a release event at the end of R40. Well, I see it'd be at the beginning of R46. Shortly after that code goes live, for the following weekend, we're going to have a large crafting event here as well, which anyone is welcome to join, and we're going to be advertising that. So I won't go all the way back behind the market, but you can kind of see there's two main aisles to the market that head back toward the west, and all of the lots are available for claiming. I've kind of taken the reservations off of them, so anyone who's interested in having a great market position in a town that's right near a starter path, which gets a lot of traffic from new players, you're welcome to come take a look at the market. Some of the prime spots have already filled up, but the way that the market's laid out, nobody has to run far to be able to shop, and so there's still some great market spots available. There's another aisle if you go a little bit towards the south, and there's another aisle that sprawls back behind the market as well, and then it just kind of wraps around. So it's somewhat of a horseshoe shape there, but plenty of market spaces. So now I'm going to run back out. Oh, was there a question?
I wanted to say that this Black Tower trader, like, what a fantastic decoration job he did here.
Yes, and I would like to specifically call out Theoden Redwald, who that's his lot and that's his decoration. He is a resident of the town. He's also the keeper of the stones and the town librarian, which I'll get to in a little bit. But his decoration skills and vision are quite impressive. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But great trader as well. His Black Tower trader's got all kinds of great stuff on it at good prices too. All right, so back out to the docks area. A little bit more now about the town history. So as I mentioned, we uncovered the dragon, and that was kind of where we started building out the town. But as we proceed north, we find a set of ruins from a previous settlement. And while we were excavating those ruins, we found a number of documents that explained the history of the town as it was back then. And what we come to find out is that there was a group of, really an alliance of elves and humans that fled from the oppressive nature of their masters from the north, from the Norgard areas as well as the High Vale and Veritas areas. And they came together to this area and they settled as a place to get a fresh start. And we found that the town in the northern area here was called Heron. It's H-I-E-R-O-N. And as we continue to go forward, we see some of these ruins. There's a small one up on the hill. This probably was somebody's house. We have a couple over here as well. And this is where we were able to really learn a little bit about the settlement that used to be here. Evidently, there was a dragon that terrorized these parts long ago, before the Cataclysm, really even before the Obsidians rose to power. And the town residents at some point became victims of that dragon and his terror, and terrorized this area. And we uncovered some parchment that indicated that they band together with the help of a very powerful wizard to ultimately defeat the dragon. And we think that a few of the items that we uncovered here are actually relics from that time period. For example, if you look directly to the northwest, you see what is a wizard's tower over here. And when we came to the town, this was in ruins, and it was it was extensively covered with char, the kind of char that you would expect after dragonfire. We restored it, and as you can see, the magic of this place is still quite active. The stones continue to levitate, and also it's now available for rent. If anyone would like to test the presence of that magic and set up shop there, they're welcome to do that. They can just let me know if they'd like to rent that property. But that's definitely something that's ancient from this town's history.
Looks
and
like
as we
there's a portal in there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Yeah, I love
these
it.
are fantastic buildings.
Cool. Glad you think so. And one thing I neglected to mention when we were closer to the ruins by the water, another structure that we found was the remnants of a lighthouse, and that has also been restored and repaired. The lighthouse has actually been working now, and anyone is welcome to rent out this property as well if they would like to live in the lighthouse. So that is the beginning of the northern residential community of our town, which has been appropriately named New Heron, since it's built on the ruins of the previous settlement. And it extends back for quite a ways. We passed a few village markers on the way that anyone can claim. Again, these are open. There's a town marker right here for a town lot. Here's some available road properties. One more property that we found was the remnants of a Viking home, largely because this was the settlement where the humans kind of set up shop. The elves that they were together with, they moved into a residence that was a little bit further south of here, which we'll cover in a little bit. But we found the remnants of a Viking home that was in pretty good shape, actually. We didn't have to do a whole lot. And that one has now been restored, and this property is also available for rent if anyone would like to rent that. Some more homes over here for residents. As you kind of go up the hill, we found some more ruins of the previous settlement here, and it's interesting. It's we're not really sure what the magical properties of the ground here are, but there's quite a bit of clusters of these beautiful mushrooms that kind of grow up around the ruins. So possibly there's a connection there from the previous town. We don't know. More residents, more lots and things available to claim over here, scattered amongst the ruins. And so this is our northern residential community. It's called New Heron, named after the previous settlement. And so we don't have to keep kind of running around, but there's a few more lots to claim here. But that's our northern community. And so as we kind of go back to the way we came, on the way back to the Wizard's Tower, you'll see that there is a side entrance that the northern residents can enjoy into the market, so they don't have to wrap all the way back out to the docks. They can come in on the side over here. And there's a few items that we'll mention as you come over this way. These homes are still available to residents if they want to be part of the market. We still technically consider this part of the market, and they're welcome to settle here whether they want to bring a vendor or not. We have a public garden that all residents are able to use if they would like to do some agriculture but don't have the space for it. We have a nice water source there as well where they can water what they plant.
Nice.
And here what we see is one of the Portalarium developers has moved in and is going to set up a boutique. This is going to be called Seraphina's Boutique, and she is going to showcase items that are new in the game that are available either for crafting or as purchase as part of the add-on store. And so it's going to be a great place for players to come take a look at something. Maybe it's a pattern of armor, maybe it's some new furniture of some sort, and they can see what it looks like in game before actually purchasing it. So that's what this home will be. There's a little boutique for that.
I think your bench is backwards here.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah,
that's all right. Just an FYI.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll get that. A couple other things as we're kind of looking out at the water. You can see the dock in the distance. We have a longboat and a gondola set up there, and once we're actually able to sail these, they'll be ready at some point in time in the next 2 years. Not sure exactly when those features are going to light up. Also, there's a little bit of space that's been left for when we're able to place lot markers on docks. So you can imagine kind of standing in front of me here, a village water lot perhaps there that someone can claim. Perhaps even more of a... Sorry, I just fell in the water. Perhaps even a village or a town marker here where someone could park their ship.
Are you keeping it to only one lighthouse?
Not necessarily. I mean, if someone would like to move in and they have a lighthouse that they want to set up, that's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Have you seen Brittany? What is it? Wharves, the Lighthouse Plague.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I may rethink that. Maybe we'll have the one lighthouse and that's it. Yeah, good point. Good point.
It does look weird since, like, never in my life have I seen two lighthouses next to each other.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Good observation. All right, so that might be a policy change there. If you look further down the coastline to the north, beyond the lighthouse, there's actually two additional lots there. There's a village and a town marker that someone can claim if they'd like to. And in the distance to the northeast, you can see a Duke castle, and that is an island that was here when we settled and the castle was erected, and that property is available for rent. If anyone would like the privilege of living in a Duke castle, that is something that's available for the residents.
Boy, after putting on that circus in Brittany Alley's, and having access to a castle a lot, I was like, man, these things are huge. From a distance, it's okay. There's a castle over there, but once you actually start running around in it and around it, it's like that is some acreage.
It really is, and there's plenty of room to set up anything you want in the yard. If you do agriculture, there's plenty of room for greenhouses and things like that. So it's a great amount of space if you want to spread out. So now what we'll do is we'll go to the south. We've talked about the northern residents community. We've looked at the market area, and so now we'll head to the south to what is our Scholars Square, or more appropriately, the town square. And before we step into the square, which is slightly to my right, I also want to mention, if you notice the air balloon directly to the south, that's a great observatory place to get a look at the town, see how things are laid out, maybe get an idea of, if you're interested in moving in, where you might want to set up shop. And then slightly behind that, you can see one of the largest trees in New Britannia. This, we do not know how old this tree is. We have no idea who even planted it. Based on as much as we can surmise, this tree was here before the ancient settlers came to this area. And so we've actually named it Veritas Tree. And we believe that it may have been planted by the ancient druids that were known to live in this region. And that may perhaps even be why one of the reasons why the ancient settlers decided to settle here. Or kind of building their community around that tree, but that's just speculation. We can't verify that. But now I'll kind of go into the town square. The square is consistent with our purpose and our mission here at Veritas Sanctuary, and that's really around the path of truth. So it's very scholarly. We have a number of different venues that are in our square that support that theme. We have a music venue. Two, really, although they're related. And we also have a tavern and a library, two inns, and a moon dial at where we're going to teach astronomy classes, SOTA astronomy classes. So as I come in, you're greeted with the moon dial, and some of this is still under construction. Where I'm standing is actually going to be a little bit of a classroom setup. This is where we'll host the astronomy classes. There's a few other players that are really adept at SOTA astronomy, and they're going to be participating in the classes as well. And as Portalarian builds even more dependence on the celestial bodies and where they are in the sky, that'll become more important for everyone to really understand how astronomy can impact their gameplay. For example, we know sieges are currently connected to them, and in the near future, crafting and things like magic and their effectiveness whether that be for enchanting or even in combat, are going to be connected to astronomy. And so it's very important that we all understand that, so we can, make the right builds and try to do enchantments and things like that at the times that will get the best chances and best buff strength. So as we go to the northwest, we see our Amphitheater of the Ancients, and this is an amphitheater that's been set up to do concerts, shows, perhaps even a small circus type event could be held here. We're going to try to do monthly events in this town. We've got a few residents that are very committed to the events that we held here, and so we have hopefully some monthly events that'll be really exciting for players to come join and participate in. The acoustics are really good in this spot, I must say. This is Amphitheater is actually courtesy of Twilight Tempest and her design. She's actually working on the dance floor in the distance back there. You can see her. But this was kind of her vision, and she designed it, and I think it's turned out really, really nice. There's a few residence lots that are behind me there in the square. This isn't part of the market per se, so I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best sales location, but for someone who's looking for a great spot close to the events and wants to move into a row location, we've got a few lots available there. As I go onto the other side of our moon dial, we have the dance floor. And again, you can see Twilight busy working on the dance floor, so this is still under construction. But we see these, the amphitheater and the dance floor being a nice spot for entertainment, envisioning concerts, and then followed by, maybe a little bit of a dancing after party to some degree. Looks like Lightigger has got the right idea here. As we look at the edge of the market, or excuse me, the square, we have the town leasing office, and this is an area you can come in and hang out. We have a few properties for rent, as I mentioned, and we also have 2 inns. And our first inn is right adjacent to the dance floor. This is the Inn of Scholars' Solace, and it's one of the new Elven inns. And it's been designed around the theme of a scholarly type of venue. So it's got some intimate spaces here in the lobby where players can do their studying. And then we also have the conveniences that you would expect in a place to live. There's a remote bank access device right here. There's also a mailbox out front so they can check their mail. And then we have 13 rooms currently available for rent. We have 2 residents already, and these are new players that have kind of started on the path of truth and come to the town, and we're happy to help them out. New players do stay in the inns for free, so we don't charge rent for new players. And with the residents who are really committed to the game, we have a lot of grandmasters that are in the town, and we're all really into the RP and really into adventuring, and so it's a great place to come and learn how the game works and have some player. Our showcase item of the market, the square, is our memorial library that we have dedicated to the library.
Having a little bit of trouble hearing you, Dereck.
I'm sorry. Did you say something?
Yeah, Dereck, can you hear me? I'm trying to hear you, but it's kind of tinny. It's starting to get a little bit tinny.
You broke up on mine too.
Something must be wrong. Is any better?
No, it's still pretty.
Alright.
Just give it a sec. It'll probably come back.
Well, I have to say, Dereck, you have a nice place here, a great town, and it's nice that you help out the new players. It's really nice of you. I like this castle. It's really neat.
Aaron, is that any better?
Yeah,
Yep.
much better.
Okay, I just reconnected. Hopefully that would fix it. All right, so where I left off is that this is the memorial library for Helen Garriott, and we really want this to be an area that commemorates her work and her contribution to the Ultima universe and the inspiration behind Richard and his creation of the Ultima universe. And so this library is devoted to that. As we step into the library and you come into the main area.
This looks fantastic, by the way, as does most of the town.
Excellent, thank you. And again, I have to give credit to Thurden, who has built out the deco for the library, and he is the town's librarian, as I mentioned, and he's done all of this. Really, it's a beautiful creation of his. And as you come in and you turn around and look up, you can see Helen Garriott's artwork proudly displayed there upon the threshold as you walk in. And so this is her memorial library. We also have a copy of every book that has been written, released in Shroud of the Avatar in this area. There's some books here. There's plenty of books here. There's also some on the second floor. We also have a very extensive collection of maps as you come up to the second floor. So this is every town template and NPC Town Map that has been collected here and proudly displayed for the residents.
Wow.
We still have plenty of room to grow as more books are added to the game, more lore is created, more authors publish, and so on. But that's our goal, is to really have an extensive library, almost a museum, if you will, to really commemorate Helen's creativity and scholarly contributions to the universe. There is a resident. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said, yeah, this is pretty cool. It's really cool you did this.
Yeah, glad you like it. There is a mad alchemist that has taken up residence in the library, I must say, and we have an arcane learning center, which is an area that he has decided to set up shop and start doing his experiments. So I will say to those who come, beware. I don't want to get grabbed. We see a subject here on the table that, after about 1,000 or so experience, finally kicked the tires. But we have a part of this that's under construction, and that's the basement hatch that you see in front of me. We're not going to go down there because I don't want to steal Thurden's thunder, but we're going to have a dungeon that is connected to the bottom of the library. Call it the archives, but something has gone horribly wrong down there. And we'll have, once we are able to do NPC dialogue and have spawners and things like that in our own residences, we're going to have a pretty cool quest that's going to be down there. And I don't want to say any more than that, but stay tuned. That's partly dependent on when we're able to do those kinds of things, but as soon as we can, we'll definitely create some events around that. So that is our town library. We do have one other item, which is around the side here. And this is our music collection. And Thurden has done an amazing job gathering the different music that's available in-game, as well as lots and lots of samples of classical music and other genres of music that are available in the in real world. But that is part of our library selection, and eventually we want to continue to extend this and make it a very comprehensive collection of music, in addition to the books and the maps and things that we have here. So that is the town library. Now, why we built the square here, tying back into the town's history, is as I mentioned, we uncovered the history involving a battle with an ancient dragon. And we believe this to be the remains of that dragon. And according to the documents that we found, the town settlers were able to defeat the dragon, but at great cost. They lost many lives. And one document indicated that they had erected a tree and a circle of stones to commemorate the brave souls who lost their lives in that battle. And so this is the Ring of Stones. This is the sacred tree of Veritas Sanctuary here. And this is a tree that's been around for, as far as we can tell, before the Cataclysm. And it hasn't actually grown very much. We believe it's going to stay about this size. But this tree is very, very old. It's a beautiful sight at night. You can't see it so much in the daytime right now, but at night there's quite an eerie glow around these stones and around the bones of the dragon, and it provides a very very interesting feel to the square. But that's why we built everything that we've shown so far. That's why we built it around, or that these are the items why we built the square here. So it's around the Ring of Stones and around the dragon. We do have, I mentioned we had two inns. The second inn is over here in the corner, and this one is still under construction. This one is a very different feel than the Scholar's Inn. This one is called Dragon Slayer Inn, appropriately named being in front of the bones. But this one is going to have much more of a battle theme. And again, new players are welcome to stay here. So regardless of what kind of RP is really your forte, we wanted to have a kind of a varying appeal here for wherever you'd like to stay as a new player. And then last but not least, we have two other items. We have an open town lot here, which we have a couple of ideas for what's going to go here. One primarily being, given that this is a scholarly town, a bookstore. So in discussions with some publishers on that. Don't want to say too much more, depending on what actually happens, but that's what that area is kind of slated for. And then we have the towns.
1 second, I see a house up on top of that hill over there.
Yes, that is the governor's mansion.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful view out there. Great place to kind of look down on the town and see what's going on. Great sunset view as well.
So you'll be able to see a dragon coming from a mile away.
Exactly. Don't know if I'd be able to do anything about it, but at least I'd see him. So the last feature of our square is the Traveler's Trinket, which is our town tavern. This is one of the properties that's still under construction as well. But imagine that there would be tables out front and nice little bit of music and alcohol once we're able to finally brew it. We'll have a little brewing area back here, and so that'll be the town tavern. But that's really the town square. We also have a side entrance back into the market. So I tried to design the town around accessibility so that you had a couple of different ways to get to things. So the market has a side entrance to the square, also a side entrance back to the northern residence, and so forth. So that people, the idea is that players don't have to run around inconveniently. We tried to make things convenient as much as we can. So this is phase one. A little bit about the plans for the town. It has been master planned. This is phase one. Everything that you've seen so far, really into three segments: the market, the northern residence, and then the square. So that's our phase one, and our ETA to have all that complete and have the town open house is at the end of this month, so coinciding with R46. And the weekend after R46, that'll be September 30th and October 1st, we're going to have a series of events in the town to kind of, uncover it, debut it to the world, that kind of thing. And some of the town residents have been working together on determining what those events are going to be and who's going to coordinate them and so forth. We're definitely going to have a crafting event. We've got a number of the residents, as I mentioned, are GMs. We're going to have GM, blacksmith, carpentry, alchemy, tailoring, as well as the respective enchanting and masterwork skills there. present for people to party. Our town vendors are going to have all the raw materials if people need supplies, things like that. So we're going to do that. We're also going to have a show at the amphitheater in the dancing area, and I don't want to say too much about what it's going to be because that's still kind of in flux right now, but just stay tuned for advertisements as we align on exactly what it's going to be. We'll let everybody know with plenty of advance warning or advance notice if they're able to attend. We're going to try to make something really fun for that weekend. And we have one more event that we're planning, but don't want to say too much about it because don't know if it's going to be done yet, but it's going to involve some questing and some RP around the area. So I think that'll be kind of fun for especially new players, but also anybody. There will be some cool stuff that you get as part of doing it. But that's phase 1. Phase 2 is a couple of more things that we're going to add to the town. The town is currently a town-sized POT. So those who aren't familiar with the sizes of POTs, you have everything from a holdfast up to a metro. Town is larger than average, but there's still 2 more levels to go. There's a city and then a metro. And phase 1, we've really allocated most of what we can allocate for a town-sized town. So there is a town upgrade on the horizon, and we're going to be upgrading to city. And when we do, we'll start phase 2 of the town, and that is going to be in this particular area, pretty much as far as you can see, and depending on your resolution and your game settings, you may be able to see a road in the distance. So pretty much from where I'm standing all the way to that road is going to be a game area. So we're going to have town games. We're going to have gusball, chess, checkers. There's going to be a pretty elaborate PvP scene here. Theoden has already decided to he's got some ideas, and I think we're all going to put it together. You're going to have city-sized lots that are going to have PvP mazes and traps and things like that are set up. So this is going to be our gaming area for the town. And there's a teleporter that's right there at the central bridge, so pretty quick in and out. Even if the spawn area is over at the docks, the teleporter is right in front of you. You can quickly teleport to this area. Also the wagon, taking us back to Novia. And as we continue further south, you can see the road in the distance to the south that's kind of wrapping around. Also part of phase 2 is going to be the Southern Residents community, which is an elven community. And it is going to have a little bit of a homeowners association. So there will only be allowed elven-themed homes there. Doesn't even have to be a home. It could be an elven tent on a lot if that's what a person wants. But we want to have really a pristine elven-type residence community there. And we'll have a couple of homes that are available for rent as well. The community is going to be called Little Veritas in dedication of the area that the elves fled from many years ago when they settled into this area. We don't have to run the whole way, but if you were to continue to go south, even beyond that residence boundary, there will be a farming community, and that's going to be a lot of town and maybe even city-sized lots for farmers. There's a teleporter that's right back down there, so farmers will be able to farm and then bring their supplies into market if they would like to. And as residents, just like anyone else, they get spots on the vendors in the town square. So that is all phase 2. It'll be the games, the Southern Residents, and the farmers market. I neglected to mention on the other side of the bridge here, straight ahead, where I'm looking kind of northeast, or I guess I should say east-northeast, there are village and town lots that have been placed. There are also village and town water lots that have been placed. Once we're able to sail, you can see a number of places there for ships to kind of come into port in the area, which should be really nice. So that's phase 2, excuse me. And I believe we can accomplish all of it with the upgrade to the city. The time frame for that is really at the next telethon, perhaps the R46 telethon. Hopefully, if the POTs go on sale, that's when we'll be doing that. And the goal is to have phase 1 and 2 complete before the end of the calendar year. at which point we think we'll have a really unique space and really unique experience for players who come to this area of Novia. A couple things that will be part of a Phase 3 whenever and wherever Phase 3 happens. The island that you see off into the distance there, when we have POT quest lines and spawners and custom NPC dialogues, that is going to have the town's cemetery, and there will be a crypt with a dungeon underneath it that will have some interesting RP that'll kind of come along with it as well. It may be tied into the dungeon that we're building beneath the library. It may not. We don't know as of yet, but we're going to try to create, a really kind of RP-ish experience in the town. So it's not just about the residents and the vendors in the squares, but really, if you want to do some adventuring, you can do that in town, and a lot of that's just dependent on the tools that Portalarium is going to give us. But according to their 2-year plan, there's a lot of things that we're looking forward to and hopefully can take advantage of.
Really excited about that.
Yeah, we are too. And we'll you may have seen the October updates that Star has been mentioning that include the prison, and we will be getting a prison for this town as soon as they're available, and have a couple of ideas on where to put it, but we will have the prison, and sometime in the 2-year plan we'll actually be able to lock people in a prison. I don't know exactly how that's going to look, but according to Star, we will have that ability, and once we do, we're going to enhance our PvP and RP story around with things like taking captives and breaking out captives and things like that. So I have a lot of plans.
So is there? Are they talking about having maybe like a bounty hunter kind of thing?
I haven't heard bounty hunter, but what has been discussed was the idea of having a jailer with a ring of keys and the ability to lock people in cells, and then if, let's say, that person's guild wants to come break them out, then they have that chance, that opportunity to do that. So that could be free to prisoner type PvP event is something that we would look at. Also, we know that the NPC towns can levy fines. The guards can levy fines for stealing. As of right now, there is really, unless it's a PvP town, there isn't that notion in POTs. But having some kind of punishment for theft around town or something like that, where the person gets locked in jail for a night. I think we could build some interesting scenarios around that kind of thing. But we've got to have the tech to be able to do it, because right now you can't lock anybody in anything.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I'd enjoy that. And the whole having somebody come in and rob something and then have a warrant on their head or something. Maybe have the ability to go out and find that person and get the money for the warrant. That'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, that's a great idea. So that really concludes the tour. We still have a whole section of town to the southeast, and if you look at the map template, it's a pretty big section of the map that is undeveloped land, and that'll be kind of our future expansion. There's a teleporter in that area as well, and there's room for estates properties around the southwest and west areas, kind of above behind the mountains. So there's plenty of room for growth, even outside of those phases that I mentioned. Of course, we'll have to be at a metro by that point, which is fine. We'll get there.
Sorry to distract for a sec. If you guys tip your cameras up, are you seeing basically lots and lots of lines in the water underneath, all perfectly straight?
Yes.
Okay, I'm putting a bug in for that.
Yeah, I do see that from time to time. It almost looks like there's some kind of a washboard texture on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Dereck, this is awesome. You have a great town, and the fact that you are helping out the people on the path of truth is even awesomer. I think you've got a great town here, and I'll definitely post this video, and I'll probably put it on YouTube too as well to kind of, you know, boast the economy in this town and maybe make it a nice city at one time, eventually, of course.
Excellent, thank you, and thank you both for joining and helping to put this town on the map. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us here.
All right, well, Twitch viewers, I guess this is my first governor interview. That's cool. And I will be posting this on YouTube, and people that are watching on Twitch, let everybody know. Check it out. The town of Veritas Sanctuary. And all right, Dereck, is there anything you want to say to everybody before we sign off?
Thanks for watching, and come check out the town. We'd love to have you.
Alrighty. See you on another episode.